Hello there guys, my name is Patricia and welcome to The Break. And today I've got something special for you and I really think that this needs to be a series. Jobs I never knew existed. Yeah, today we got into it and we had a chat with someone who works at basically a secret organization. I caught up with Lynn Owens, who is a Director General at the National Crime Agency. There are real people who are keeping us safe every single day in a way that we don't really know about. We talked about what the day-to-day role looks like, how she got her job, what they do, how they're actually protecting the nation, as well as just the real tea of what happens behind the scenes. What's crazy to me is that this is not just as you see on TV, it is a real job and people are dealing with these things on an everyday basis. So we had a full-on conversation, we got into it, and I hope that you guys enjoy this video. Hello everyone, today I'm so excited to be speaking to Lynn Owens, or should I say Dame Lynn Owens, who's actually the Director General at the National Crime Agency. We're talking about really interesting careers that some people are not aware of, and you definitely have a really amazing and interesting career that I think people would love to hear more about. So it's great to have you on today, Lynn.
Oh, I'm so delighted, Patricia, to be on your channel with all your viewers. So how very exciting. It's the first time I've done one of these, so you're going to have to train me through it.
Yeah, welcome to YouTube. We're a lovely bunch of people. And random question I'm going to ask you off the top. Do you ever get referred to as Money Penny or Miss Money Penny? Because when we think about, the National Crime Agency, we all think James Bond.
Yeah, well, people do James Bond, or for me, they often do Prime Suspect. So if only life were that glamorous. Sadly, it's not. But yeah, some of those questions and all the questions about dramas on telly. Is it really like that in the real world?
Is it?
So I love a drama, all of them. So I wouldn't encourage anyone not to watch them. But it's not always quite as exciting. But that's not to say. I mean, we do amazing work that protects the citizens of the UK. So what's not to like about that?
I love that. I wanted to take it back a little bit, and I'd love to know what your life was like kind of growing up, and maybe a bit more about your background and how that kind of made you transition into where you are today.
Yeah, and so I'm very happy to talk a bit about myself. It's always a bit awkward, isn't it? If they expect you often to go, oh, she's so boring. So I was born and bred in Southeast London in Croydon. Which is the place to be. I often say to people, you can take the girl out of Croydon, but you can't take Croydon out of the girl. I went to a state comprehensive school. I did relatively okay at school, but not brilliantly. So very average O-levels and A-levels. Yeah, I've ended up in a amazing career that started in policing and has ended up in the national security community, which is just such a privilege.
Was it something that you kind of knew you wanted to do, or you went to school specifically for a role at the National Crime Agency?
No, really not. And I think that's one of the things that I'd say to your viewers: don't panic. If you don't have a life plan, that's okay.
Right.
So yeah, for me, no, I didn't have a plan, and I sort of fell into it a bit. I worked for an insurance company. When I was there, I realized I really liked claims investigation. And a few months later, or a few years later, in fact, I saw the Metropolitan Police Service was advertising for constables, and I thought, well, actually, this Monday to Friday is just a little bit dull, a little bit boring. So let's give policing a go. And to be frank, I haven't looked back. It's been amazing.
Okay, so from insurance to policing to the role that you're in now, it was not necessarily a very linear journey, was it?
No, it really wasn't. It was just a plan that had no rhyme nor reason to it, really. So I've just done jobs that I've really enjoyed, where I've really felt that I've been able to make a difference, where I've really felt that I've been able to protect the public. And I've met some amazing people along the way who've pushed or nudged or encouraged me. And it's as a result of that I end up running the great organisation that is the National Crime Agency. And for people who don't know what we do, we lead the UK's fight to cut serious and organised crime. So people that traffic drugs and firearms or abuse children, or do cyber crime or cyber-enabled crime, that's us.
Yeah. Wow. It's actually quite mind-blowing, because I don't know if people know how people get jobs in these kind of agencies. It almost feels a little bit like a a black box. And I think a lot of us go on the journey of university, we pick a course, and then we're like hoping it will get us into a certain job role.
Well, here's my shocker. I didn't actually go to university. So if I had a message for people listening to this, it would be, you'll meet some people in national security who went to some of the best universities in the world, but then you'll meet people like me. I did go to university straight from school, but I think I stayed about 3 weeks. I was somebody who was really lacking in confidence back then. Not something I necessarily struggle with now. And I just need a bit more maturity in the real world. So no, I really haven't had a plan. And when I look at the people we employ in the National Crime Agency, we employ amazing graduates, but we also employ people that have had careers in other sectors, or people that have done apprenticeships. So, no matter your background, as long as your values are in the right place, that's the thing that really matters.
I love that. So you didn't have a university degree to get in the position that you're in?
No, I did some studying. I took a master's degree, but that was quite a long way on in my career.
Okay. So what other jobs did you have then before you got into the National Crime Agency? And obviously you did insurance, but was there anything else that you did that kind of built that maybe a foundation for you?
So when I was at school, I did, as many people do, I worked in a couple of shops for a while. Then I joined the insurance company on a management scheme. I did that for a couple of years and took some qualifications when I was there. Then I joined policing. So I did every sort of role in policing, from frontline policing, public order policing, and I became a senior investigating officer for major crime. I've worked in 3 police forces. And then, almost 6 years ago now, 5.5 years ago, I applied and in January of the following year, joined the National Crime Agency as its leader.
What did you do to kind of prepare for your application or to make that move?
So I think it's the same as any job that people might be applying for. I think you have to think about why it is that you really want the job. You have to think about what it is that the skills and experiences that you've got to bring to that particular role. And then you have to say, if you're going to buy into me, this is what you're going to get. And no matter really how senior the job is, that's how I've always prepared. If you've worked before, you also have to bring a bit of, and these are things I've done previously. I'm not just pretending I'm like this is what I've done, but that's how I'm prepared.
Was there anything you were kind of, scared about? Like, it's a big role, it's a lot of responsibility. You're kind of like protecting the nation to an extent. Was there anything that you were nervous about doing?
So every day, the agency carries a whole load of risks. We do work that sees people abusing children online and trying to import volumes of firearms and drugs to the UK. So I know that any particular time, something could go wrong within our operational field. But I think, if you're doing these sort of jobs, you just have to be able to balance that risk and have confidence in those around you and the teams you're part of and other members of the national security community to know that you're going to pull together.
Do you ever think that, people at the national security have a certain, let's say, disposition, like kind of quite sturdy to like handle the amount of things that may happen on almost a daily or hourly basis, like made of certain stuff?
Yeah, so actually, if you were to meet us all, I think we're all quite different.
Okay.
And I think that's a great thing. We hold the sort of nation's safety and security in our hands.
Mm-hmm.
And because we do that, we need to be able to draw on all sorts of different sectors from different communities. So, an ability to create people in the community that look and feel and belong to all the communities we serve is really, really important. So I don't think there is a sort of a rounded person that this is the archetypal national security professional. I think we come from all sorts of different backgrounds. You do need a level of personal resilience, I guess.
Yeah.
We all get that resilience in different ways.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I'm thinking about me doing it and I'd be like stressed out and like panicking. I'm not good in like high stress situations, but I'm presuming that there are lots in your team who are good at that.
Yeah, but that's not to say that some people, if I think about our people that have to do all the work online against child abusers, we've got an occupational health set up so that we can make sure that if it does feel like it's coming on top for them, they're feeling pressurized, they've got some professional support to help them. So if you're somebody that doesn't deal with anxiety or stress well, it's not necessarily a blocker. It's about working what through what role it is that you could do. We've got many frontline roles, but we've got a comms team. You'd be brilliant in our communication with all of your history and your background on YouTube. So lots of round pegs for round holes, I think.
Okay, I love that. What do you find like the most fulfilling and rewarding then about your role?
Oh, by far the most rewarding thing about my job is when we have a operational result, which means that the UK is safer, that the public has been protected. You know, when we've taken volumes of firearms off the street, volumes of drugs off the street. You know, we had a case in the middle of the pandemic when somebody was threatening leaving a bomb hoax to threaten the NHS.
Wow.
And of course, you know, we really, really had to wrap around that because, you know, if that had become public knowledge at that stage, it could have made people scared about going to hospital, which was the last thing everyone needed. So really good example of holding a whole bundle of risk. But then when we identify the person and he goes before the court, that's really great feeling. And you know, on child abuse, when we rescue children that have been being abused, it's really that motivates me in this job.
Do you have any advice for anyone who may be thinking about coming to work for the National Security Agency?
Just do it, give it a go, and if you're interested in it, reach out. Don't self-moderate. Don't think, oh well, it's not for me. I don't fit that norm. There is no norm. We are all completely different backgrounds, different histories, come from different communities, and that's what makes the national security community so special. So I'd say just go for it. There is nothing more rewarding than protecting the UK. So that would be my encouragement.
I think there's an aspect of people not even knowing what like kind of roles there are, but I know there's like tech roles, as you just mentioned, there's comms roles, there's probably like social media roles, and I don't know, different things. Do you have any insight on maybe some of the roles people might not be aware of that are available?
Yeah, that is so true. So if I talk about the National Crime Agency, we're part intelligence agency, part law enforcement organisation, and part sort of policy department. So what does that mean? That means we need investigators and we need intelligence officers. We need people who are prepared to go undercover, but equally we need people who are prepared to work in HR and work in finance and do our comms internally and externally. We have an ever-growing need for technologists, so really good cyber specialists and people that can design brilliant technology systems for us. Data and data analytics, people who do forensic work. So the jobs are endless. All of them are advertised on the civil service website for us or on our own National Crime Agency website. So just have a look. There's something there for everyone, as they say.
I love that. That's great to know. Do you have any specific advice for women coming into the National Crime Agency?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, the national security community needs people from all sorts of backgrounds. Yeah. There are two main reasons for that. One is because we use the coercive powers of the state and we have to use them fairly, and we have to use them in a way that gives the public confidence. So therefore we need to really understand what every sector of the community would think about it. The second reason is the more inclusive and diverse voices you have around a table, frankly, the better the decisions that you make. So I would say to any woman watching this, the national security community needs you. They need your background, they need your intellect, they need your compassion, they need your determination. So please don't think, oh, national security, I'm going to have to carry a gun, or there is something in that community for you. Yeah. And we need to be as diverse as we possibly can, to be as representative of the public as we can be.
Yeah, and also to reflect society as it is.
Exactly.
And I think women make the world go round anyway.
We might be biased, but I completely agree.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd love to ask about salaries, not necessarily yours specifically, but what kind of are the varying salaries that people can have at the National Security Agency?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I have a very good salary. It's all published, so your viewers can look it up.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
No, it is. But the truth is, there's no set salary. I mean, what would I say? I would say certainly in the more junior grades, you wouldn't join the national security community for salary alone. You could go and work in some private sector institutions and earn a lot more. So it really depends on what your motivation is. As I say, I don't think there's any more rewarding job. And of course, one of my job as a leader is to make sure we pay people enough so they can, have good lives and have good families. But we're flexible employers, so the ability to work reduced hours, work part-time, work flexibly, and actually we've really shown that through COVID. So the actual reward of working in the national security sector is broader than pay, but actually even if you only look at pay, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad compared to other elements of the public sector. If you're mainly motivated by money, it doesn't pay as much as the private sector. But hey, I'd argue it's so much more rewarding, but I am biased.
I totally get what you're saying there. And you said you didn't have a degree to, have this role. Can anyone coming at any level, and are there any kind of like apprenticeship opportunities that people can get, fast track in?
Yeah, so all of that, you definitely don't need a degree. If you've got a good degree, that's brilliant. If you haven't, so we have internship schemes, we have apprenticeship schemes, we have opportunities in school holidays for people to join. One of the things that we do that is not well known is we run some behavioural science resources on behalf of policing. So supporting policing with some of their really difficult murder investigations or serious offence series. We run sort of internships into that for people in the last or second year of their degree. And likewise, within our cyber world, we have apprenticeships for people with no degree but want to access that, who might come from a completely different background.
Amazing. That is really cool to know. And I think there's a lot of people who are not aware of like the opportunities that are within this agency. So thank you for sharing. I think I've asked everything I want to ask. It was really insightful.
No, it's great. It's really, really great to be with you. And I just encourage people not to be scared by the title. I think National Security Council, National Security Community, all sounds a bit grand.
Yeah.
The truth is, it's about protecting us all, and we all want to feel safe in the UK, safe on our streets.
Yeah. And we think about James Bond and Aston Martins, but I'm sure there's like lots of other things that are involved. Well, thank you so much, Lynn. It was great to speak to you.